Have you ever stopped to wonder if the way you sleep each night is truly giving your body and mind the restoration they need? Or if, like 99% of people, you've been missing the real secret behind deep, healing rest? Imagine this. Every evening, as darkness falls, we're offered the chance to step into a sacred sanctuary, a hidden dimension where fatigue melts away, the body repairs itself, and the mind clears of all the noise collected during the day. And yet, for most, that doorway remains unopened. They lie in bed for hours, thinking they've rested, but awaken just as tired, their bodies carrying toxins, their minds heavy with confusion, and their spirits still disconnected from the true source of renewal. But before we begin, please hit the like button and let me know where in the world you're watching from today. It's always fascinating seeing who's joining us from around the world. Because here's the truth. Sleep is not simply about shutting your eyes and waiting for morning. It is far more profound than that. In reality, sleep is one of the oldest sacred rituals of humanity. It is a ceremony, a biological and spiritual act designed to restore you on every level: body, mind, and soul. Has this ever happened to you? You wake up, but instead of feeling renewed, you feel like the night has added more weight to your bones. Your heartbeat races, your thoughts are clouded, and you carry an invisible exhaustion that no amount of coffee seems to fix. Most people believe that's normal. But what you're about to discover might surprise you. It's not normal at all. When sleep is approached merely as a physical necessity, stripped of its sacred essence, something essential is lost. Think about it. Why is it that you can rest for 8 hours, yet still wake up unrefreshed? It's because true sleep isn't measured in hours alone. It's about entering a state where your entire being aligns with a rhythm older than civilization itself. Deep sleep is not just a phase of unconsciousness. It is a transformative process, a hidden workshop where your body renews its cells, your mind discards the clutter of the day, and your soul reconnects with its center. The tragedy is that modern life has convinced us otherwise. We've reduced sleep to a checkbox on the daily schedule, a pause button we hit before restarting the cycle. But the ancients knew better. They treated sleep as a doorway, a holy passage into the mysteries of healing and rebirth. And while science today is slowly confirming what was once common wisdom, that during sleep the brain cleanses itself of toxins, that the body orchestrates complex repair mechanisms, and that our very energy is recalibrated, most people remain blind to its deeper meaning. Stay with me until the end, because this perspective could completely change the way you see your nights, and more importantly, your days. Every night, you have the chance to experience more than rest. You can touch the profound truth that in sleep, you symbolically die and are reborn. The night does not just erase fatigue. It organizes chaos, restores balance, and prepares you to awaken renewed. But if you've been treating sleep as a mechanical act, it's no wonder you've been missing out on its full power. What you're about to learn is that sleep is not a passive escape from reality, but an active ceremony, a sacred rhythm woven into your biology that invites you to heal, transform, and reconnect with the deepest layers of who you are. So, tonight, when you lie down, will you close your eyes simply to rest, or will you choose to step into the sanctuary that only a few ever enter? Stay with me, because in the next part, we'll uncover how to reclaim the hidden art of sleep and why it might just be the most powerful act of healing available to you. If reflections like this speak to you, subscribing will ensure you're always here with me for the next journey. Have you noticed how strange it feels to wake up more tired than when you went to bed? You roll over, maybe your heart is racing a little, your mind already buzzing with fog, and no matter how many hours you spent lying down, your body refuses to feel alive. Many people think this is just part of modern life, the price of stress, or perhaps a medical issue. But the hidden truth is far simpler and more profound. If this has been happening to you, it's not because your body is broken. It's because you never truly reached the depth of sleep where real transformation happens. Without deep sleep, you remain at the surface, skimming across the waves of unconsciousness, but never diving into the ocean where healing takes place. Deep sleep is not just another stage in your night. It is the secret workshop behind the scenes of your existence, where your body works silently with precision. Here, tissues are repaired, hormones are balanced, and your immune system strengthens its defenses. But it's not only about the physical body or spirit, too, finds renewal in this hidden chamber of the night. This is the point where the noise of the day dissolves, where heavy emotions are softened, and where your inner world is reorganized in ways you cannot consciously control. Think of it as an alchemy that happens without your permission, a process that turns exhaustion into vitality, confusion into clarity, and chaos into harmony. And yet, most people never make it there. They hover at the edges, mistaking hours in bed for true rest. Imagine entering a cathedral, but never stepping past the doorway. That's what shallow sleep is, standing outside the sanctuary of restoration. Only when you cross the threshold into deep sleep does the real journey begin. The one that allows you to wake, not just refreshed, but reborn. Because each night holds a mystery that few recognize. We don't only fall asleep, we symbolically die. And in that symbolic death, we are given the chance to start over. The old weight of the day fades away, and something inside you is reordered. Your mind reorganizes its tangled threads, your body rebuilds what was worn down, and your spirit reconnects with its source. By the time morning comes, you are not the same person who closed their eyes the night before. This cycle of death and rebirth is one of the most powerful revelations hidden in the ordinary act of sleeping. The night is not simply a pause between 2 days. It is the most essential part of the journey of life itself. When you understand this, you begin to see why so many people wake up feeling empty, because they never allowed themselves to be transformed. They resisted surrender, clung to noise, screens, stress, and unfinished thoughts, and in doing so, they interrupted the sacred process of renewal. True deep sleep requires a different mindset, one that recognizes rest not as laziness, but as a profound decision to honor your own existence. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic, because when you embrace the night as both an ending and a beginning, you uncover the hidden truth of your own resilience. The simple act of sleeping becomes a mirror of the greater journey of life, letting go of what no longer serves, stepping into the unknown, and awakening with the chance to live differently. Each morning is proof that you are capable of transformation, that within you exists the power to reset, to heal, and to return stronger than before. And all of this unfolds silently, invisibly, while the world sleeps on, unaware of the miracle taking place. If these words resonate with you, write in the comments, "I'm also on this path." Real rest doesn't begin the moment you close your eyes. It begins much earlier, in the quiet decision to release the weight you've been carrying. Think about it. How often do you climb into bed with your body tense, your mind racing, and your emotions still echoing from the day? In that state, even with your eyes shut, your soul refuses to let go. True sleep, the kind that restores and transforms only, unfolds when your inner self feels safe enough to surrender. It is less about exhaustion and more about trusting the night to hold you, trusting silence to guide you, trusting your own being to rebuild itself without your control. This is the hidden truth behind real rest. It is not forced, it is allowed. Before modern times, people understood this instinctively. Long before the hum of electricity and the glow of screens, our ancestors moved with the rhythm of the natural world. For them, darkness wasn't a void to be feared, but a cosmic womb where regeneration happened. The night sky, vast and silent, was a reminder that creation itself required intervals of stillness. Imagine living in a world where sunsets signaled not the end of activity, but the beginning of a sacred journey inward. The cycle of day and night wasn't measured by productivity, but by harmony, a dance between light and shadow, where the body and spirit aligned with the universe itself. In ancient cultures, this understanding was not metaphorical, it was lived as a daily ritual. To the Egyptians, sleep was not a simple biological function, but a sacred ceremony. Temples of sleep were built as spaces of initiation, where priests guided seekers into states of lucid dreaming to receive messages from the divine. In these sacred chambers, sleep was not passive rest, but an active dialogue between the human soul and the unseen world. Behind the scenes of ordinary life, they believed the night revealed truths that daylight concealed. Dreams were not random images, but coded revelations, pathways to healing, guidance, and transformation. And what is fascinating is how intentional this practice was. The bed was seen as an altar, the night as a portal. Entering sleep meant stepping into a sacred architecture, a temple of consciousness where one could cross thresholds that waking life never allowed. In Greece, followers of Asclepius, the god of medicine, embraced a similar belief, using dream incubation as a way to receive cures and revelations. Pilgrims would lie down in sacred spaces, awaiting the fragile yet powerful whispers of the night to bring them clarity, insight, or even healing. It wasn't about waiting for rest to arrive. It was about preparing themselves to receive it. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic, because hidden within these traditions lies a mindset we've almost forgotten. The understanding that sleep is a conscious decision as much as it is a biological necessity. To prepare for the night was to prepare the soul for transformation. The ancients aligned themselves with nature, with ritual, with intention, because they knew that without surrender, the night could not reveal its gifts. What science is only beginning to prove: the cleansing of toxins in the brain, the repair of cells, the resetting of emotions. These cultures lived as truth long ago. They treated the darkness as sacred, not as something to escape with artificial lights and distractions. When we see sleep in this way, not as a pause in the day, but as an initiation, something shifts inside us. Rest becomes more than recovery. It becomes a ceremony of renewal, a nightly rebirth that shapes how we awaken to the world. And perhaps this is the revelation we've been missing, that the quality of our nights determines the quality of our days, that regeneration isn't random, but guided by how we approach the threshold of sleep. Write in the comments, "This makes sense to me," if you've ever felt that sleep is more than just closing your eyes, but a sacred passage into something greater. In ancient Greece, sleep was not something taken for granted. It was sought after as a sacred encounter with the divine. Those who followed Asclepius, the god of medicine, would journey to temples not merely to pray, but to lie down and surrender themselves to the night. They practiced dream incubation, a ritual where the fragile landscape of dreams was expected to carry wisdom, visions, and healing. Imagine the mindset of those pilgrims. They entered their rest with the certainty that the night itself could reveal remedies no physician could provide in daylight. Behind the scenes of their stillness, they trusted that answers would arrive not in words, but in images, symbols, and revelations gifted through the subtle language of dreams. For them, sleep was an active dialogue, a co-creation with mystery. What fascinates me is how similar truths echoed across the East, where Taoism and Buddhism embraced the night as a bridge of energy. They believed that the rhythms of nature, the flow of the moon, the pulse of the stars were directly connected to the human body. To them, sleep was the tuning of an instrument. When you slept in harmony with the universe, your chi, your vital energy, was restored. Muscles, organs, emotions, even stagnant thoughts were cleared, as if the night itself were washing the dust from your being. This wasn't simply rest. It was alignment. It was the hidden truth that the body is not separate from the cosmos, but a reflection of it. By entering deep, balanced sleep, one returned to that unity, to the original design, where body and spirit resonated as one. Join me by subscribing, so these insights continue to find their way to you each week. Now, contrast that vision with the world we inhabit today. Modernity has stripped sleep of its reverence, reducing it to an inconvenience in a culture obsessed with productivity. Artificial lights stretch the day into unnatural hours. Noise interrupts silence, and glowing screens steal the darkness meant to cradle our souls. We have been trained to see sleep as wasted time, a pause in the constant demand to do more, achieve more, become more. And in doing so, we've lost the sacred art of surrender. The night has been colonized by distractions, its portals sealed by endless stimulation. The impact is clear. People wake heavy, restless, and disconnected, not realizing they've been robbed of the very medicine their ancestors once honored. This shift reveals more than just a lifestyle change. It shows how far we've drifted from our original mindset. Sleep was once a journey, an active devotion, a conscious decision to step into the unknown with trust. Today, it has become mechanical, a box to tick on the schedule, devoid of meaning. Yet the consequences reach deeper than fatigue. Without sacred sleep, we lose balance. Our emotions spiral, our creativity dims, and even our spirit feels estranged. Modern science confirms what ancient wisdom always knew, that during the deepest stages of sleep, the brain clears toxins, the immune system strengthens, and the mind organizes chaos into clarity. But while science describes it in technical terms, the ancients lived it as a revelation, an initiation into transformation each night. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic, because hidden within this contrast between past and present lies a choice we must all face. Do we continue surrendering our nights to noise, speed, and distraction, or do we reclaim them as the sacred ground where true healing happens? This is not about superstition. It's about decisions. Decisions that determine whether we live aligned with our essence or disconnected from it, because the night has not lost its power. We have simply forgotten how to enter it. If these words resonate with you, put down in the comments, "I'm also on this path." Science today is finally beginning to describe, with microscopes and brain scans, what ancient traditions always held as sacred truth. When we fall into deep sleep, invisible processes awaken. Cells are repaired, toxins are cleared from the brain, and the mind reorganizes itself with a precision no conscious effort could ever achieve. Creativity surges, intuition sharpens, and hidden connections appear as if the night itself whispered answers we could not find in the noise of the day. It's almost ironic modern research is putting numbers and graphs to something humanity once approached with reverence, proving through data what was once lived as ceremony. The revelations are striking, but perhaps more striking is the reminder that wisdom doesn't always come from progress. Sometimes it lies in remembering what we already knew. And yet, despite this knowledge, we drift further from our original design. Every bad night of shallow, interrupted rest takes us another step away from the balance we were born to live in. Our ancestors trusted the rhythms of the sun and the silence of the night, while we resist them with alarms, screens, and endless noise. Each restless night is more than fatigue. It is a fracture in our connection to vitality itself. It shapes our mindset, influences our decisions, and erodes the quiet clarity we need to navigate life. We wake disconnected, not because life is inherently overwhelming, but because we have sabotaged the very foundation of renewal. It's like trying to build a strong house on weakened ground. Eventually, everything starts to collapse. This is where a hidden truth reveals itself. Choosing to rest consciously is more than personal care. It is an act of rebellion in a world that glorifies exhaustion. To give yourself to sleep with intention, to honor silence and darkness as allies, is to resist a system that wants you awake, but fragmented. It is a decision that has impact not only on your health, but on your journey as a whole. Because real transformation begins when you dare to protect your nights as fiercely as you chase your days. Behind the scenes of your daily routine, the most important work is happening not when you're active, but when you surrender. Think of the paradox. In sleep, when you seem to do nothing, the most profound work is unfolding. Your body orchestrates healing, your emotions reset, your mind clears. What appears passive is, in reality, the most active and creative process of your existence. To honor that is to reclaim power. And in a rushed world, where speed is confused with progress, to slow down and rest with intention is the ultimate declaration of freedom. It is saying, I choose alignment over chaos. I choose life over survival. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic, because within this choice lies the possibility of rediscovering balance. The night has always been more than absence of light. It is a sanctuary, a teacher, a mirror of our own cycles of death and rebirth. When you honor it, you awaken not just rested, but reconnected to the wisdom that modern life has tried to bury. And that wisdom changes everything. It shapes your energy, your emotions, your presence in the world. Write in the comments, "This makes sense to me." If you feel that rest is more than sleep, it is a conscious return to your original design. Sleep is often mistaken for a pause, an empty gap between one day and the next, but in reality, it is the most active part of your existence. Each night, as you surrender to it, you enter a secret laboratory hidden inside yourself, where body, mind, and soul begin a silent collaboration. Here, wounds are mended, memories are reorganized, and energy is renewed. What seems like stillness from the outside is actually an intricate behind-the-scenes performance, one that determines the clarity of your thoughts, the stability of your emotions, and the strength of your physical health. To ignore this truth is to miss one of life's most transformative revelations. That sleep is not. Passive it is the foundation upon which everything else rests. Imagine for a moment that your body is a sacred city. By day it is bustling, overwhelmed with the traffic of thoughts, emotions, and constant activity. Streets grow crowded, walls begin to crack, and bridges wear down under the pressure of endless movement. But when night falls and the gates close, invisible architects awaken. These systems, biological, energetic, and spiritual, move quietly through the streets of this city, repairing what was broken, clearing what was congested, and restoring order where chaos had taken over. Without their work, the city would eventually collapse under its own weight. Sleep, then, is not simply a break, it is the rebuilding of the very structure that allows you to live. Each phase of sleep is like a corridor in this sacred city, a passage that leads you into deeper levels of restoration. In deep sleep, your cells regenerate, your immune system strengthens, and the hormones that govern aging and vitality rebalance themselves. This is where the physical scaffolding of your being is renewed, brick by brick. Then comes REM, a mysterious stage where your mind decodes the experiences of the day. Here, scattered impressions are stitched together into symbolic stories we call dreams. And while many dismiss dreams as random, they are anything but. They are the language of your subconscious, the hidden truth rising from the depths, reshaping how you perceive reality and offering insights you may not notice while awake. If this perspective resonates, subscribing is a simple way to stay connected with more content like this. What happens in these phases is nothing short of alchemy. Stress, fear, and confusion dissolve into new clarity, much like base metal being transformed into gold. It is the silent process that allows you to wake not just restored, but transformed. The impact is enormous. Without this nightly alchemy, decisions become clouded, emotions grow unstable, and even your physical body begins to weaken. Yet when you honor the architecture of sleep, you unlock a hidden power, a mindset shift that makes every morning an opportunity to begin again, not as a continuation of yesterday's fatigue, but as a rebirth into clarity and vitality. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic, because within the mystery of these phases lies a profound journey that most never recognize. Sleep is not merely something that happens to you. It is a dialogue between your inner world and the universe itself. To step into it consciously is to accept the invitation to transformation, to trust the unseen forces working behind the scenes to shape your energy, your health, and your spirit. Each night, you are offered the chance to rebuild not only your body, but your entire perception of life. And when you begin to see sleep through this lens, you no longer treat it as ordinary, you treat it as sacred. Write in the comments, "I'm rebuilding my inner city," if you feel that this hidden laboratory of the night is where the true transformation of life begins. When you enter deep sleep, something extraordinary takes place behind the scenes of your mind. The brain, no longer consumed by the constant flood of thoughts and demands of the day, begins to reprogram itself. Stress and fear that once seemed immovable start to dissolve, as if melted away by invisible hands, leaving room for serenity to take root. Confusion untangles itself, and clarity emerges in its place. It is as though the night offers a secret therapy session, one where your subconscious becomes the healer, rearranging memories, easing wounds, and shaping new perspectives. This hidden truth explains why, after a night of true deep rest, problems that once felt heavy suddenly appear lighter, solutions rise effortlessly, and your mindset shifts from chaos to calm without you consciously doing anything. But while this natural reprogramming has the potential to transform you each night, the reality is that many of us sabotage it with modern habits. The body wants silence, darkness, and stillness to unlock its laboratory of healing. Yet we flood our nights with noise, with glowing screens that trick the brain into thinking it's still day, and with environments that leave no space for surrender. Each notification, each late-night distraction, pulls us further away from the sanctuary of real sleep. It's like trying to let an artist paint a masterpiece while constantly shaking the canvas. No wonder the picture never turns out whole. The impact is subtle at first. A little more fatigue in the morning, a little more irritability during the day. But over time, it becomes a journey of disconnection, where your natural design is disrupted and your energy grows weaker with every restless night. This is where the distinction between quantity and quality becomes crucial. We've been conditioned to measure sleep in hours, as if time alone guaranteed renewal. But the hidden truth is that sleep is like music. It's not about how long it plays, but whether it's in tune. Imagine listening to an instrument played out of key for 8 hours straight. The duration doesn't matter. The experience is dissonant and exhausting. In the same way, poor quality sleep, even stretched across a full night, leaves you in chaos. Deep, aligned sleep, however, even if shorter, can bring harmony to the entire system. It's about resonance, not numbers. It's about whether your body and mind were given the right conditions to perform the transformation they are wired to deliver. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic, because this idea of harmony opens the door to something profound. Sleep is not merely an act of rest, but a form of tuning. Just as a musician prepares their instrument to play a melody, you prepare your inner world for the symphony of the next day. And when that tuning is neglected, the result is a life out of rhythm, a daily existence filled with tension and imbalance. When you honor sleep as the fine-tuning of your being, you begin to see that it is not wasted time. It is the very process that determines the quality of every decision, every reaction, and every step of your journey. Write in the comments, "I choose harmony," if you feel that true sleep is about quality, resonance, and the hidden transformation that happens when the night is allowed to do its work. There are traditions that have always viewed sleep as far more than a biological reset. In many shamanic teachings, the night is not simply about closing the eyes. It is about opening doors to other dimensions of the self. While the body lies still, the spirit journeys, traveling through invisible landscapes to bring back fragments of wisdom, energy, and healing that are then woven into your being. These teachings suggest that what happens in dreams is not fantasy, but a kind of dialogue, a behind-the-scenes exchange between the visible and the invisible. It explains why some awaken with a sense of renewal that goes beyond physical rest, as if they return from a hidden journey carrying gifts for the soul. To understand sleep this way changes everything. You stop seeing it as empty hours and begin to recognize it as a sacred voyage, one that shapes your vitality and your presence in the world. And yet, even something as seemingly ordinary as posture carries meaning in this nightly ritual. Ancient cultures believed that the position of the body could influence the flow of energy during sleep. To them, it wasn't superstition, but alignment with the greater forces of the earth, sleeping in harmony with magnetic fields, or favoring certain orientations was considered a way to amplify restoration, as though the body were a receiver tuning into the natural frequencies of the planet. Modern science is only beginning to explore how these subtle alignments might affect hormonal balance or neural coherence, but the ancients already lived as if this knowledge were self-evident. It was a decision they made consciously, to treat their rest not as an accident of exhaustion, but as a carefully prepared ceremony of repair. This mindset reveals something crucial. that good sleep is not a coincidence, but a silent ritual. Every night, whether we acknowledge it or not, the body obeys ancient codes written into its biology. Hormones rise and fall, cells begin their meticulous work, and the nervous system guides you through stages that cannot be forced, only allowed. By honoring these codes through silence, darkness, posture, and surrender, you awaken renewed not just physically, but mentally and spiritually. It is like walking out of a temple each morning, cleansed and restored by a ceremony you didn't even realize you were part of. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic, because once you start to see sleep as a ceremony, everything changes. The bed is no longer just a piece of furniture, but an altar. The night is no longer an interruption, but a passage into transformation. This shift in perception has an impact far beyond health. It reshapes your mindset, influences your decisions, and even alters how you experience your own journey through life. The hidden truth is that renewal is not given to you passively. It is co-created with the choices you make around how you approach your nights. Sleep becomes a dialogue between the codes written into your biology and the reverence you bring to the act of resting. Write in the comments, I honor the ceremony of sleep, if you feel that every night carries the potential of a sacred ritual, silently transforming you from within. The ancients never treated sleep as a mechanical pause. For them, it was an art form, a living practice that required presence and intention. They didn't obsess over counting hours or tracking numbers. Instead, they asked a more powerful question. How do I surrender? They understood that true rest doesn't come from forcing the body to shut down, but from allowing the soul to release its grip. To surrender meant trusting that the night would do its work, that behind the scenes of silence, the body and spirit would be restored. This mindset alone changed everything, because it transformed sleep from habit into ceremony, from a routine into a journey of renewal. That is why intention became the first and most important secret. Before closing their eyes, they would program their minds as carefully as a captain sets the course of a ship. They knew the subconscious is always listening, always steering, and that entering the night without direction left the journey to chance. But when a clear intention was set, whether it was healing, clarity, or the release of heavy emotions, the night became purposeful. Dreams unfolded with guidance, energy was directed where it was needed, and awakening carried a sense of alignment rather than randomness. This hidden truth shows us that the state in which we enter sleep determines the state in which we rise from it. The night mirrors the energy we bring into it. Subscribe now, and let's keep uncovering these hidden truths together. To deepen this preparation, rituals were created to prepare the inner temple. Cultures across the world treated the moments before rest as sacred. Some would burn incense, allowing the fragrance of sandalwood or palo santo to quiet the mind and cleanse the atmosphere. Others would repeat mantras or prayers, words that shaped their energy and tuned their consciousness to higher frequencies. Breathing techniques slowed the body's rhythm, guiding it from agitation to serenity, as if each inhalation and exhalation were steps leading deeper into the sanctuary of rest. These rituals weren't complicated, they were acts of reverence, gestures that reminded the soul that nightfall wasn't a gap to fill, but a passage to honor. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic, because what these ancient practices reveal is more than history. It's a mindset we've almost forgotten. They remind us that the quality of our nights is not accidental, but cultivated. By choosing to set an intention, by deciding to prepare the inner temple, we create conditions where transformation can actually unfold. The modern world tells us sleep is passive, something that happens when we're too tired to go on. But the ancients knew it was the opposite. It is a conscious act of alignment, a decision that impacts not just how we rest, but how we live, how we decide, how we experience the hidden truth of our own potential. Sleep, when honored as an art, becomes the most powerful teacher of surrender, showing us night after night that renewal only comes when we are willing to let go. Write in the comments, I choose to surrender, if you feel that sleep is not a habit, but an art that begins with intention and sacred preparation. Silence has always been misunderstood, as the absence of sound, when in truth, it is something much deeper. Real silence is vibrational. It is the state where both body and mind settle into coherence. You can turn off every noise around you, close doors, shut windows, and still feel restless. Because the agitation often doesn't come from the outside world, but from within. The thoughts that refuse to stop replaying, the emotions left unresolved, the invisible static created by constant stimulation. These are the disruptions that prevent rest from becoming renewal. To sleep well, you don't just need quiet surroundings. You need a quiet soul. It's a purification process where layers of inner turbulence slowly dissolve until only stillness remains. And in that stillness, the night can finally work its mysteries. This is why practices to calm vibrations before sleep are so powerful. They aren't luxuries. They are doorways. When you take a few minutes to meditate, focusing only on your breath, you begin to anchor yourself back into presence, releasing the weight of thoughts that don't belong in the sacred space of the night. When you write in a journal before lying down, it is as if you are emptying a heavy container, clearing space so that your subconscious doesn't spend the night carrying unresolved burdens. And when you step away from screens and glowing devices, you are signaling to your nervous system that it's safe to let go, safe to transition from the speed of the day to the slower rhythm of restoration. These small decisions change the impact of the night. They are like tuning the instrument of your mind so that what follows is not chaos, but harmony. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic, because silence and stillness are only part of the equation. Beyond the personal rituals lies something greater, the alignment with the earth itself. Ancient cultures believed that our bodies, like instruments, resonate with the fields of the planet. The direction in which we sleep, the way we orient ourselves to the magnetic lines of the earth, was seen as crucial for restoration. To them, this was not superstition, but recognition of a hidden truth that the human being is not separate from the environment, but in constant dialogue with it. Sleeping in harmony with those natural frequencies allowed energy to flow freely, as if the body were plugging into a source of vitality larger than itself. Modern science may not fully capture the mystery of this yet, but it has begun to reveal glimpses of its logic. Studies suggest that electromagnetic fields influence our hormonal balance, our circadian rhythms, even the coherence of our brain waves. If the invisible currents of the earth can shape oceans, tides, and seasons, why would they not also shape us? To align with them is to remember that sleep is not only biological, it is cosmic. Each night, you are not only restoring muscles and tissues, you are reattuning yourself to the greater symphony of life. Write in the comments, "I align with the earth." If you feel that true rest is more than silence, it is resonance with the planet itself. Dreams have always carried a mystery that science struggles to reduce to chemical reactions and random neural firings. For those who dare to look deeper, sleep is not simply a reset, it is an opening. In that state, the walls of ordinary perception soften, and channels hidden during the day become available. Through dreams, creativity flows in symbols. Memories surface not in linear fragments, but in archetypal patterns, and sometimes the soul itself seems to speak. This is why so many breakthroughs, works of art, and profound decisions are born not from endless hours of thought, but from what the night reveals behind the scenes. A dream can be a message, a revelation, or even a rehearsal for what your waking life has not yet dared to explore. To dismiss it as random is to ignore a hidden truth. Your nights may be shaping your destiny as much as your days, but the journey does not end when the dream fades. How you awaken determines whether that wisdom, that energy, remains with you or slips away like mist in the morning light. Conscious awakening is not about alarms or rushing into the day. It is about sealing the work the night has done, opening your eyes slowly, breathing deeply, allowing yourself to feel the body before moving. These small acts preserve the healing and insights gained in sleep. Gratitude at this moment acts like a bridge, carrying the subtle transformations of the night into the clarity of the morning. When you rise with gentleness, you anchor what has been renewed, giving it space to influence your mindset, your decisions, and your presence throughout the day. The impact may seem invisible, but it shapes everything from your mood to your resilience, from your ability to focus to the way you connect with others. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic, because this is where sleep reveals its most profound secret. It is not something that happens to you. It is something you co-create. Each night is a collaboration between your biology and forces you cannot fully see, a dance between intention and mystery. By preparing your body, calming your mind, and setting a clear purpose, you invite restoration rather than leaving it to chance. The quality of your sleep is not only determined by your environment, but by the energy you bring into it. This is the hidden architecture of the night, a structure built not only of phases and cycles, but of intention, awareness, and trust. When you enter it with reverence, you transform. Sleep from habit into ceremony, from survival into transformation. What happens while you rest is a dialogue, a journey across layers of existence where you are both participant and witness. The body repairs, the mind decodes, the soul explores, and something larger than you orchestrates the harmony. To see sleep as co-creation is to accept your role in it not as passive recipient, but as conscious collaborator. And when you carry that awareness into your nights, you realize that the invisible forces you align with are not distant, but already living within you, waiting for your permission to work fully. Write in the comments, "I co-create my nights," if you feel that sleep is not passive, but a sacred partnership with the invisible forces of life. One of the greatest obstacles to deep, restorative sleep in our time is the constant stimulation we allow into our nights. The glow of screens, the endless scroll of images and messages, the subtle hum of digital noise, these do more than delay sleep. They agitate the mind, filling it with vibrations that ripple into the hours meant for silence. Disconnecting from screens an hour before bed is not just a practical tip, it is a symbolic act. It's the decision to step away from the demands of the outside world and re-enter your inner world. When you turn off your phone, your computer, or your television, you're not only eliminating blue light, you're reclaiming your mental field. That quiet hour becomes a sacred threshold, a preparation for the transformation that the night is ready to offer. It's a small decision with a profound impact, because it sets the tone for everything that follows. Breathing then becomes the key that unlocks the door. So simple, so overlooked, and yet so powerful. Conscious breathing slows down the rhythms of the body and tells the nervous system it is safe to let go. With each deep inhale, you draw in renewal. With each slow exhale, you release the weight of the day. This is the hidden truth behind why so many spiritual traditions, from yoga to meditation to ancient rituals, place breathing at the center of transformation. It is not merely oxygen moving through your body. It is energy, alignment, and intention shaping your state of being. When practiced before sleep, breathing is like handing the body a map to reach deeper levels of restoration. It anchors you into presence, silences agitation, and invites the parasympathetic system, the body's natural healer, to take charge. Subscribing, you make sure this kind of knowledge keeps flowing into your days and nights. And then there is the environment itself, which must whisper to your biology that it's time to surrender. Darkness and coolness are not coincidences. They are the original signals that guided our ancestors into sleep long before modern life interfered. A cool, dark room tells your brain that the day is over, that the natural rhythms of the earth are inviting you inward. Darkness stimulates the release of melatonin, the hormone of regeneration and repair, while lower temperatures align with the body's natural cooling as it prepares for deep rest. It is a language older than civilization, one written into your biology, and when you honor it, the body responds with gratitude. In this way, your room becomes more than a space. It becomes a sanctuary. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic, because these rituals are not only about preparation, they are about mindset. They remind us that sleep is not something that happens automatically, but something we step into consciously. Disconnecting from screens, breathing with intention, creating an environment of silence and darkness, all of these choices reshape the hidden architecture of the night. They are behind-the-scenes acts that determine whether you wake in chaos or in harmony, whether your nights become wasted time or sacred transformation. These decisions, though simple, have the power to rewire not only your nights, but the quality of your entire journey through life. Write in the comments, "I choose the sanctuary of night," if you feel that these rituals are more than habits. They are sacred keys to transformation. Posture may seem like a small detail, but it is in truth a language the body speaks fluently. Every position you choose during the night is a form of dialogue with your organs, your circulation, even your emotional balance. Sleeping on the left side, for example, is not only a matter of comfort, it supports digestion, reduces pressure on the heart, and allows the body's natural systems to work with less resistance. Ancient traditions recognized this harmony long before modern medicine confirmed it. To them, lying in certain orientations was a conscious decision to align the inner city of the body with the larger rhythms of nature. When you see posture this way, it becomes more than habit. It becomes an intentional gesture, one that shapes the quality of your rest and the depth of your renewal. Just as posture prepares the body, journaling prepares the mind. Before stepping into sleep, writing down thoughts, fears, or even small reflections works like clearing the stage before the performance begins. If the mind is left cluttered, it will carry that noise into the night, replaying worries or unfinished tasks in endless loops. But when you write, you remove the weight from your head and place it on the page. It's a quiet but powerful act of liberation. Dreams then have more space to breathe, to flow as pure channels of creativity and revelation, rather than distorted echoes of the day's anxiety. Behind the scenes, journaling becomes a key that allows the subconscious to move freely, unburdened by the restless chatter of the conscious mind. And then comes intention, the subtle yet transformative element that ties it all together. Setting an intention before sleep is like handing your subconscious a compass. Without it, your inner voyage drifts without direction. But with even the simplest statement, "I will heal," "I will release," or "I will wake renewed," you guide the unseen forces of the night toward purpose. It doesn't need to be elaborate. It only needs to be sincere. This is the hidden truth the ancients always knew, that your subconscious listens, that it responds, and that the quality of your dreams and your renewal depends on the decisions you make before surrendering. It is a dialogue, a partnership, a way of telling the night where to steer the ship of your soul while you rest. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic, because these three practices, posture, journaling, and intention, are not separate gestures, but part of the same journey. Together, they remind us that sleep is not mechanical, but ceremonial. They show that what you do in the minutes before sleep has an impact far greater than most realize. This is where mindset meets biology, where ancient wisdom meets modern science, where your choices create the conditions for transformation. And once you experience the difference, you no longer approach the night as something ordinary. You approach it as an opportunity, a sacred passage that shapes how you awaken to the world. Write in the comments, "I prepare my inner temple," if you feel that posture, journaling, and intention are not habits, but keys to unlocking the deeper mysteries of sleep. The way you awaken each morning is just as important as the way you enter sleep. Many people sabotage the quiet work of the night the moment they open their eyes. A harsh alarm, a sudden rush into movement, or the immediate flood of screens and obligations can erase the delicate energy carried back from dreams. Gentle awakening, however, is an act of preservation. When you allow yourself to rise slowly, to stretch, to breathe, and to feel your body before stepping fully into the day, you are anchoring the hidden work of the night into your waking reality. Gratitude at this moment acts as a seal, turning the invisible renewal of sleep into a tangible force that accompanies you through the day. It is not about luxury, it is about mindset. The choice to greet the morning softly transforms the impact of the entire day ahead. And then there is the element most people overlook: constancy. Rituals only reach their full power when they are repeated with devotion. One night of preparation may feel calming, But true transformation comes from consistency, from showing up night after night with reverence for the process. Constancy is the treasure key because it creates rhythm, and rhythm is what the body and soul crave. When you follow these patterns regularly, your system begins to recognize them, responding more deeply with each repetition. Over time, sleep itself becomes easier, richer, more restorative, until it no longer feels like chance, but like a natural flow. This is the hidden truth of all transformation. It is built not from isolated moments, but from the steady layering of decisions made over and over again. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic because constancy reveals something profound about the journey of sleep. It turns what feels like a personal practice into a lifelong dialogue with your own essence. The more consistently you honor these rituals, the more you realize they are not separate from the rest of your life. They shape your mindset, influence your decisions, and echo through your days. Each night becomes part of a larger cycle of growth, each morning a continuation of the transformation that began while you slept. Sleep ceases to be a biological necessity and becomes a spiritual discipline, a medicine you administer to yourself through choice, awareness, and repetition. Behind the scenes, your nights begin to carry a different weight. They stop being a blur and start becoming a sacred rhythm, a pulse of healing that nourishes every part of you. It is not about perfection, nor about rigid control, but about devotion, about remembering again that how you treat your nights defines how you live your days. In this sense, constancy is more than routine. It is the architecture of transformation, the bridge between who you are today and who you are becoming. And when you live in harmony with that rhythm, you discover that sleep is not a break from life. It is the hidden foundation upon which life itself is built. Write in the comments, "I honor the rhythm," if you feel that gentle awakening and constancy are the keys to turning sleep into a living medicine. If you've stayed with me all the way here, it probably means something in these words resonated with you. That's why I invite you to subscribe, so you don't miss more reflections like this, because every time we explore these hidden truths together, it's a chance to bring more clarity and balance into your own journey. And if you reach the end, let me know in the comments by writing, "I'm with you until the end." I'd love to see you walk this entire path with me. And before you go, give this video a like. It helps me know that this connection we created here had an impact on you. There's a video right here that beautifully complements everything we just explored. Click and continue with me over there.